That's right. Today we're going to talk about similar figures and how to tell if two shapes are similar. So what we have to know is that similar shapes are similar if all corresponding angles are congruent. So all of like the matching angles have to be the same. So corresponding angles are congruent. Then all corresponding sides, all the matching sides have to be proportional. So proportional means that they have the same scale factor. So we have to find the scale factor between the sides to make sure they're all the same. When we're working with similar shapes, this is our little similarity symbol. So whenever you see that, you know it means similar. Two shapes are similar, then they meet those two criteria. And just so like the proportion or ratio is like the scale factor we use to get from one shape to another. That's like also what we multiply it by. So we just went over that. All right. So to tell if these two shapes are similar, first you check your angles. So if I notice, I'm going to look at my congruency marks. So Q matches up with T, R matches up with U, P matches up with S because they all have like the same number of congruency marks. So angles are good. So then we have to check the corresponding sides. So in order to do that, you just have to make sure you start from like the same shape each time. And you match up, you create a fraction from the matching sides. So like 26 matches up with 39. So I'm just going to do 26 over 39. 20 matches up with 30. So I'm going to do 20 over 30. And then 38 over 57 because those are corresponding sides or matching sides. All right, so now all I have to do is simplify those fractions to see if they all equal the same thing. So you can do this in your calculator, or you can do it by hand, it doesn't matter. So when I simplify this, each one I get 2 over 3, 2 over 3, and 2 over 3. So if all of the sides have the same scale factor, that means that the sides are proportional. And we already checked the angles, all of the corresponding angles were congruent. So that means that these two shapes are similar. So I could write a similarity statement then and say that triangle RPQ is similar to triangle UST because they meet those two criteria. So that little symbol again means similar. Let's just look at another one. There are two more. So I'm looking at the angles. I notice that all of the corresponding angles are congruent. So then I just have to check the sides. So if there's like multiple sides, the easiest way to do this, is like the smallest number has to match with the smallest number. The middle number has to match with the middle number. And the biggest number has to match with the biggest number. Okay, so then we just write our fraction. So it doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you start with like the same shape on the top of each fraction each time. So this time I'm going to start with the red triangle. 25 over 20. Let's see, 30 over 24. And 35 over 28. So when I type in all of these into my calculator, for each one, I get 5 over 4. So that means that the two shapes are similar because corresponding angles are congruent, corresponding sides are proportional because they all have the same scale factor. So you got to make sure that you're checking those to make sure they're all the same. All right, so the next two, I'm dealing with two rectangles. So I notice all the angles are congruent because they're all 90-degree angles. So I need to check these to the corresponding sides, 36 and 27, and 48 and 32. Okay, so I just match those up, and now I have to simplify those to see if those are the same or if they're different. Okay, for the first one, I get 4 over 3. For the next one, I get 3 over 2. So these two are not the same if they don't have the same scale factor. That means that they are not similar. So remember, that little symbol means similar, so those are not similar. So that is how you tell if two shapes are similar or not.